Live from Studio City, California, it's time to Visit Your Tomorrow, the show where spirit meets reality, with Dr. Linda Salvin, an integrative health consultant, a metaphysical clinician with a PhD in metaphysics, who offers insight with psychic readings, DNA-based nutrition, and Wicks of Wisdom, magic candles. Now it's time to Visit Your Tomorrow, the show where spirit meets reality, with your host, Dr. Linda Salvin.
Hi, everybody. I am Dr. Linda Salvin, and I am broadcasting in the daytime right now. It's 2 o'clock on the West Coast. It's 5 o'clock on the East Coast, and every other hour in between wherever you're listening to the show, especially since it'll have been pre-recorded. I'm supposed to have a guest by the name of Simone Gordon, but I haven't been able to locate her today. I don't know if she's having some issues with her system, or she forgot, or she does have a severely autistic child, which may be preventing her from getting to the show on time. I don't know. And she may pop up. And if she does, you're going to love her. She's been a client of mine since she was 19, and she's now, I think, 36. So I've been reading her for a very long time. But she's done some amazing work, and you can find her on Instagram under the Black Fairy Godmother, where she has helped disadvantaged people get diapers, food, their rent paid, utilities paid. She'll do what she can to help people raise the money, or she'll raise the money for the people to get them situated. So fortunately or unfortunately, she's not here yet. She may still pop up. I don't know, but I'm going to just keep going and introduce what I can to you. If you're in the audience and you want to ask a question with regards to spirituality, love, money, moving, travel, health, communication, anything on a psychic level, I'm going to take your chats. I am also going to let you know that down the road, one of the things I am working on with my wonderful team of Jonathan and Christopher and Dave is I'm going to be adding a phone so you guys can call in and I can do a real talk show, listen to your voice and talk to you with me on the air like I did in the old days on real radio, because I'll also be tying into an FM station. So it's all going to start coming together. You've been patient with me through the last few months, testing the waters here with regards to putting the show together, and different times, different topics, different interviews. But I am a psychic, a healer, and a medium. I did start radio in 1994. It is now 2022, so it's a 28-year run so far. And I've helped thousands of people all over the world with regards to spirituality, making predictions, healings, channeling the dead, whether it's a relative, a pet, a spouse, whatever. I did that for 22 years. I'm very selective as to who or what I channel these days, because it's very draining. And what I did it when I was younger, it was okay until it took a toll on my body. For those that have never heard of me, well, you can Google me on Linda Salvin all over the internet, good and bad, I'm sure. But I became psychic on February 17th, 1981, when I survived a commercial airline plane crash at John Wayne Airport in Orange County, California. I had a premonition the plane was going to crash. I was with my partner up in San Jose, California. We were working at a hospital that day. We both were employed by an insurance company. And as I looked out at the outside the coffee shop, I said, "Doesn't the plane look like it's going to crack there?" And my partner probably thought I was cracked up because he didn't see what I saw. But I saw a fuselage or exhaust settlement at the fuselage line. And an hour and a half later, our plane, a Boeing 737, did crack in half upon landing. When we crash landed at John Wayne Airport, we had an engine fall off and the landing gear was stripped and we cracked in half. But coming down the ramp, I had an out-of-body experience. And that was the first of my 3 near-death experiences where I literally saw the other side. I heard voices and I was told to do different things than I ended up doing, obviously. But back then, I didn't know what was happening other than I ended up on the playing field. I was shocked. I was 50 feet out of my body on the left, which lasted 4 months. And then I stand 5'8". So I was imbalanced and out of my body. We didn't talk about things like this back in the 80s. Nobody knew about it. And you couldn't just go to Google because the internet didn't even start till 1996. Okay. So this is, 15, 16 years prior to the internet. And I was out there all by myself trying to figure out what had happened. And during that time, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't rest. I couldn't understand the voices. I couldn't understand what was happening internally. I kept asking my mom, my dad, my attorney, friends. I don't know. Whatever I said, there's voices and things were happening. And then people would come up to me and say, whatever you say keeps coming true. You must be psychic. I said, I'm not a psychic. Well, I ended up going to a psychic, and she told me I was a walk-in. I said, what's a walk-in? She goes, it's when you're close to death and a different soul takes over, and whoever entered you came in on an angle and is a psychic. I said, really? I'm not a psychic. Well, here I am 40 years later, and I'm well known around the world as a psychic. So it happens. It's a long story. It's a weird process. It did not happen overnight. I did not accept it right away. I ran for 12 years. I was scared. I was humiliated. I was frightened. I had no concept of what it was, but I just went with it. And eventually I stopped fighting. And when I surrendered to what had happened to me along the way, where I got hit by a fire truck, had another out-of-body experience, near death. And then in 1984, I totaled a car, had the white light experience, where the white light went from the ceiling of from the top of my head to the ceiling of the car into the heavens. This loud voice said, you can come with us now or stay and do. And I was given a message. And when the paramedics came to get me out of my car on a rainy night, I said, oh, they want me off the planet. They want me off the planet. So this stuff is real. Spirituality is real. I never believed any of it till it happened to me. So if you've got questions, feel free to email me, book an appointment. I don't work for free, people. This is my job. It became my career. I took my master's degree in public health epidemiology. And several years after all the woo-woo of the psychic world hit me, I integrated with the metaphysics. I got my PhD in metaphysics, which is a combination of spirituality and psychology. So I have created my world metaphysically as a result of all the weird experiences I had with the fire truck hitting me, being in a plane crash, and then totaling a car with the white light. Then I had some surgical procedures back in 1991 where I had emergency surgery and I became a healer. And then in 1991, I had the first surgery. I became a healer. And then in 1996, I had 100 and some odd tumors removed from my hips and thighs. And I became a medium where I started talking to the dead people. And I called a friend of mine who's now deceased. And I said, I don't know what this means, but somehow I started talking to this man about his wife who's deceased. And she said, well, welcome to the world of transmediumship. Nobody talked about this stuff in the 80s or the 90s. Nobody, but it was happening to me. I look back in retrospect and I was being indoctrinated for this kind of work. And here I am down the road and been on radio, TV. My book's coming out next year. I've had I don't know how many interviews I've done, but I'm the real thing. And if you don't want to know things, don't call me, because then you're going to be freaked out that it happens. Most of the time it will happen. Timing may not be on time because most psychics can't tell time, although I'm pretty accurate on the timing, give or take 6 months, a year at the most, but most of my readings will come in sooner than later. And time on the psychic spiritual realm is not the same as on the linear realm that we know by a clock, the 12-hour days, 24-hour days. We don't, the psychic world can be 3 years down the road or 20 years down the road, but it'll happen if a viewer, a psychic, a seer sees it. Most of the time it will happen, just maybe not in the time that we want. So, hi, Spike's mom. I'm glad you're here. If you have a question, pose the question and I will answer. So the opportunities came to me or hit me because of weird accidents and then surgeries. So I never went out looking to be a psychic. No, I was not born psychic. A lot of people are born psychic. I believe we're all intuitive. I do not believe we're all psychic. It's impossible because you can't have that much frequency going on in the planet. I do want to talk about the charlatans for a moment, because last week or 2 weeks ago, I mentioned on the show that I had a guy call me who had bought some candles on Instagram and his fiance broke up with him. Well, number one, he told the girl he was burning candles on her. Number two, he bought the wrong candles that somebody sold him that hurt the relationship rather than help them. Now, I've been doing candle magic since 1999, and the Wicks of Wisdom work like a prescription for your soul. And I will help you understand how the candles work for your best interest if you book a consultation with me so I can analyze what your situation is. We've all got love, money, career, life after death, health questions. We all have the same kind of topics, but each individual person has a different situation. I just got off the phone with somebody who's going to school, and she's studying education, but I think she's going to go into law. And she was shocked that I would say that, but this is what the spirit is showing. And at first she was real shut down and scared and didn't want me to read her. I said, I'll give you your money back. I'm not going to fight you people. But when you give me the moment to prove that I can break through and help you see the light as to what journey you're on here, it comes out really cool. It really does. I was scared. I never understood psychics. The first time I went to a psychic in 1978, I believe, I thought my friend told this woman everything about me before I even went in to have my reading. I didn't know how it worked. So psychic abilities are real, but there's a lot of charlatans online, especially with TikTok and Instagram and God knows all the other platforms. There's a lot of fakes out there. And if nothing starts to happen or it sounds weird, you're probably not talking to the right person. But when it starts to happen and it comes true, you know you're onto something. And not all of my readings do come true. You can read about my testimonials at lindasalvin.com. You can find me on Keen. You can find me online, on Google. I mean, I'm all over the place. So I just want you to be careful about the charlatans because not everybody's legit. They're out for the money or they're out to hurt people's lives. And we are playing with lives or touching people's lives. I can't give you false hope. If I don't see something or feel something, I'm not going to pad a reading just to make you feel better. That's not my style. But to help you communicate, get the relationship, to get you aligned on your path, to open up spiritually, that's my bag. That's what I love to do. That's my passion. I love helping people find their own compass and get you directed. We all have bumps in the road. We all have little pebbles and boulders and obstacles. But when you find God's will versus your will, you're going to find it's more on the flow. What's the flow? Dr. Carl Jung, back in the early 1900s, had defined the flow of being along the universal movement, like the dolphins coming out of the ocean all in sync. Why do the dolphins come in sync? That's the flow. He defined the flow in metaphysics back in the early 1900s, and metaphysics, which is what my PhD is in, is very much aligned with his thought. So it's personality, it's our position philosophically in alignment with what the universe has in store for us. And that's how it all works. So if you want to find what's really right for you, you might be in the wrong relationship. I know people who are in relationships with the money, but there's no love. Or they may have all of what they think is great for them, but they're still unhappy. So you got to find out what's causing the disappointment within. Where's the anger coming from? Where's the disappointment? The lack of fulfillment? Is it the job? Is it the relationship? Whatever's going on, that's something that you have to determine for yourself. And if you can't do it for yourself, then of course I can open that door for you and help you discover what might be right for you. So I use candles. I do candle magic with the Wicks of Wisdom. The Wicks of Wisdom work like a prescription for your soul. And there's about 15 or 16 different sets. One's to remove blocks, obstacles, negativity, called Good Luck Power. There's Money and Success, to open doors for money, success, opportunity. I just had a lady last year have her son, she burned a set for her son to pass the bar, and he did. So he became a lawyer. There's candles for legal lawsuits. I had a girl on the show a few weeks ago named Kelly, and it's here on YouTube, and you can watch it. The candles kept her out of jail. She was up for a 20-year sentence, and the legal candles helped her avoid that. And even her attorney was shocked that he'd never seen anything like it, but she admitted she had somebody do candles, and it works. It does work like a prescription for your soul. So if you're having legal problems, I can help you with that. If you have health problems, I've had many testimonies where people were bleeding or had cancer or had illnesses, did the candles, and the ailment went away. I cannot promise that all of it works all the time because it's magic. You can't prove magic. But I can prove through all the people I've worked with in candles and magic since 1999 that there's something to it. In my set of candles, the magic comes from the writing of the petitions and the oil formula. Everything else is secondary. But the way Wicks of Wisdom works is when you have a petition where you write certain things on a piece of paper, certain words and statements, and the combination of oils. I have some right here. I can show you basically what ours look like. There are, let me get them. There's these petitions. You get 3. There's grids. I teach you what to do on the 3 lines, never mind the 4-line grid. And then there's 4 bottles of oil. Here's 2 to start. There are 4 half-ounce bottles of oil that I sell you that come with 3 candles. And I teach you how to mix the oils with the powders, with the herbs, and then add the petition. And money, love, luck, health, legal, harmony, whatever you're going after will probably happen within a month's time. I do candles for people. They pay me to burn them at the house where they don't want to do them themselves. Or I just sell them to you where you can purchase the candles on your own and burn them at home. And then call back for more because you saw the results. Unfortunately, I guess Simone got tied up or she couldn't make it to the show, and I'll have to have her on at a different time. But what we want to do here is open up the show to more of like a noon on the Pacific Coast, maybe 1 at the Pacific Coast, and move the show from the evening, because 5 o'clock Pacific time is coming into people's dinner, travel. I know there's football. There's always something going on. So I'm not sure the 8 o'clock on the East Coast, 5 o'clock on the West Coast is working. So Spike's mom, what time of day is best for you? Are you still here? I don't know if she's left or not. There's a couple of people hanging out in the audience, but I'm not sure where you guys are. But if you're here, pop into the chat so I know. I'll probably cut this short because Simone, the guest, isn't here, and you don't need to hear me talk about myself the whole time. Although if you want to talk about soulmates and spirituality and God, like I just read the poem, God, Are You Real? To a woman whose reading I just did a little while ago. And I'll remind you again how to find God the way I see it as a butterfly. It's not religious at all. It's not about religion. Think about this. God, are you real? It's an old Sanskrit poem. It's from the 1200s. I didn't make it up, but it certainly says everything. It's on my website. It's in my TV infomercial that you can see at YouTube when I did the commercial, the Wicks of Wisdom infomercial where Kris Jenner was the spokesperson back in 2006. It's all there. It's not new, but it says, God, are you real? The child whispered, God, speak to me, and a meadowlark sang. The child did not hear, so the child said, God, speak to me. And the thunder rolled across the sky, but the child did not listen. So the child said, God, speak to me. And a star shone brightly, but the child did not see. Thank you, Victoria. So the child said, God, show me a miracle. And a child was born, but the child did not know. So the child said, touch me, God, show me you're real. Whereupon God reached down and touched the child, but the child brushed the butterfly away and walked away unknowingly. So I try to teach people to become more aware of our own existence to the universe, the stars, the moon, the sun, children being born, butterflies. I see God as a butterfly, so I've got butterflies everywhere. You've probably seen my background. Let me see if I can bring it up, where I have all the butterflies on my website. I have butterflies on shirts. I have, people have sent me hats. I had mobiles. My house was so full of butterflies at one point that I had to say, stop it with the butterflies. I would get butterflies for gifts or on cards or mobiles or pictures, mosaics. Okay, I get it. But I was even wearing butterfly socks to the gym this morning. Okay, because somebody gave me butterfly socks. But it's the butterfly. It's a wink of God. To me, it's the universal messenger. However you want to see it, but to get out of your head and to stop analyzing everything and get part of the universe, whether it's snowing or raining or it's beautiful or it's whatever, and you're getting crazy because there's so much tension and stress in life, shh, quiet down and try to focus on something like a butterfly. Let the butterfly guide you in life. Remember that poem. You can always find it on the website. And to me, it's like that child brushing the butterfly away and walking away unknowingly. We're still looking for proof. There's proof everywhere. We wouldn't be here if there wasn't proof. Like I don't know if you can hear in the background, there's a movie being or a commercials being filmed on our street, and there's probably 15 trucks and all the vibration and the noise going on with this house being used in a commercial. It's been here all week. And then there's people across the street cutting down the trees. I can hear that. Hummingbirds represent sweetness in life. The hummingbird is about sweetness. So if you have a hummingbird, Spike's mom is talking about hummingbirds. Each of us have a what's called our spirit animal or totem. Mine's the butterfly. But some days it's a squirrel, and some days it might be a snake, and some days it's a fly, and some days it could be a horse. There's a great book on the market called Animal Speak by Ted Andrews. And you can look up hummingbird and it'll talk about the sweetness, because the hummingbirds are small and how they flitter their little wings and they work, but they're all about getting the nectar to bring in sweetness. On a metaphysical level, that same sweetness can be reversed into diabetes. Why? What is diabetes? Not just your blood sugars and your pancreas over excreting, but you're lacking sweetness in life. So your pancreas is working harder to get that sugar in your body, which is why people need insulin to balance, because there's anger or regret or remorse. It's not just the liver, the kidneys, the spleen, the bladder, whatever's going on to create disease. Our emotions create disease, dis-ease. Faces of faith, hi, welcome. I see blue jays all the time. So blue jays have another representation. I could step away and get the book, but that means there'd be nothing there. Jonathan, can you come on for a second? Jonathan's backstage. Let me bring on Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan. Jonathan.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, you talk. I'm going to step away and go get this book so I can talk about the hummingbirds and the blue jays. This is great because this is the stuff I love, to teach people why you're so attracted to something and what the message is with that totem. So take over for a moment. And it looks like people like this time frame because somebody else just said this is better than later. So Jonathan, talk for a moment. You've known me since 2007. You've done a lot with the show. So introduce yourself.
That's right. Well, I'm Jonathan Betton, and a tech support for Linda. Got with her doing editing a while back, editing a lot of her older radio shows. And now she's, transitioning into the digital space, doing streaming. So we're experimenting and trying to really find the best times where everybody will be available. And as you all should know, Linda really thrives off interacting and reading and just engaging with people. So we're really, wanting to build the following and build the audience for this live stream. They'll all be rebroadcast and reposted. But on the live side, that's where Linda really thrives.
Yes. Because I started on talk radio long before the internet stuff really took off with YouTube and StreamYard and all the digital platforms. So it's easier to just talk. And like I said, we're going to be bringing in a phone system. So rather than chatting, you'll be able to call in at a toll-free number, which I think would be pretty awesome. And then we'll get talk and chat going all together. So let me just get the flashlight on my little phone here. And I'm going to look up Blue Jay. Then I'm going to look up Hummingbird, or whichever one comes up first. Jonathan, thank you for that. And yeah, Jonathan's been around a long time. He puts up with a lot of crap from me. But that's...
It gets intense sometimes. But
it gets intense. Yeah, but it's the loyalty that I love about you. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you in a bit.
All right, thank you. I'll see y'all soon. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to mute you. Okay, so let's look at the bluebird because, the blue jay is different than the bluebird. So let's go to page 121. And the totem is explained in this book by Ted Andrews. He died about 8 years ago, but he did this amazing book. You can look at insects and birds and animals and feathers. So Faces of Faith said, I see blue jays all the time. So the blue jay, the keynote is the proper use of power, and the cycle of power is year-round. It says blue jay has long been thought of as a bully and a robber. And although it can have those tendencies, it has other qualities that make it stand out positively. For those to whom the jay comes as a totem, here we go, Faces, It can reflect lessons in using your own power properly, and it can also reflect lessons in not allowing yourself to be placed in a position in which your power is misused against you. In other words, you've got your boundaries, so people can't take advantage of you, and yet you're strong enough to stand up for yourself. And then when people do try to bully you, or you try to bully them, it comes back into the balance so that the harmony is there. And the word J comes from the Latin Gaia or Gaia, which has associations to the Mother Earth in Greek mythology. So you're really grounded. Phases of faith, however you came up with that, is all about your being connected to the earth. So you can go look it up, and that's your daily totem, and that's you. That was part of what the actual message is. Now let's go to Spike's mom, who loves the hummingbird, and let's look up hummingbird for a moment and see what that says. I know it's about sweetness because I've looked it up so many times. And will you guys please subscribe to the channel and tell your friends that we're here, because it takes a long time to build this. But once we get the phones and I'm tied into the FM station, it's going to rock and roll. But that's going to be on Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern, I believe. We're not sure yet. I'm still working on that. Let's find the hummingbird. There's horses and honeycombs and hibernation and herring. They got everything. But hummingbird, here we go, 157. So let's go read about the hummingbird for a moment and see what the totem message is for Spike's mom as to what her feelings are all about and what this bird represents, just like the butterfly for me, which to me is the wink of God, and it's also resurrection. It's the life and death. Come back, fall down, get up again. So the hummingbird, tireless joy and nectar of life. There's the sweetness that I was talking about. And it's mostly a daytime situation, Spike's mom. It says the hummingbird may be the smallest of birds, but it's also the most fascinating. Anyone who's ever seen this tiny bird is filled with a sense of wonder and joy. Its name comes from the vibration of its wings as it flies or hovers. We have all heard how good it is to whistle while we work, but humming is much more effective. It creates an internal message restoring health and balance. This is what the hummingbird reminds us to do. It reminds us to find joy in what we do and to sing it out. So there's your main little reason right there, Spike's mom. You're humming, you're buzzing on the inside, you're flittering all the time, but you really want to say something in a melodic manner. And that bird is there to help you. Did you know there's over 300 species of hummingbirds? Says so right here. So it's significant in the Hebrew alphabet that with the letter Shin is given the numerical number of 300 as well. So this has associations with fire and relationships, the past and the future. So it's kind of like what I was saying earlier about the sweetness of life, and sometimes you're lacking sweetness, but the hummingbird, especially if that's your favorite, you're always going to be vibrating to the positive or the humming or singing a song or wanting to be in joy. Hey, Rob, how you doing in Illinois? So the hummingbirds also have knowledge on how to use the flowers for healing. So it's very much a healing bird, Spike's mom. So you're right in alignment with what's going on with the hummingbird. Now, if you're just joining the show, yes, it's 2:00 in the afternoon. Well, it's actually 2:30 on the West Coast and 5:30 on the East Coast, everything else in between. And then this show will be played or uploaded, I guess, onto YouTube with all the others that we're building the channel. It's not done yet. We've got a long way to go. And as I said, it looks like we're going to be getting the phone system integrated here. And then I'll be tying into the FM station, which is huge in Los Angeles, but it's also streaming. So there's a lot of technical input going on, building this whole system that I've been working on the last 3 years and growing the show. So if you have a question, now's the time to pose it. Those are the birds. If you have other totems you may have, like Rob is a friend of mine from the University of Michigan from 75 to 77. Rob's totem, I think, is a barbecue. Rob loves to barbecue steaks and ribs. And I mean, he posts these pictures. Rob, you should open up Rob's barbecue in Illinois somewhere and just go to work. He does amazing barbecues. With the steamer and all the different flavors, and oh God, it's so delicious looking, and how he cooks everything looks just so delicious. But it's his passion. Rob found a passion after he retired. He and I were epidemiology students at the University of Michigan in 75 to 77. Epidemiology is a big word these days with the pandemic, with COVID. But Rob stayed in epidemiology. I got into a plane crash and became psychic. So that was the joke. Everybody was becoming yuppies and moving on with their families and careers. And I was out there trying to figure out God, life, and what to do with all of it. And as you know, this is what happened in radio and metaphysics. And it all works out. It's just getting there was kind of a long journey. Let's see, Spikes, my mom came to me as a owl in a tree. Okay, so the owl represents wisdom. Okay, how long ago did you lose your mom, Spike? Because she's definitely around you. I feel like she smoked or had lung or pulmonary issues, and before she passed away, she was sick in her lungs, or it could have been heart, but I'm feeling more pulmonary and upper GI. So that may have been one of the problems that she had before she passed away. She's very much around you as a guardian angel, and a lot of times we'll think about our parents, or we may smell their cologne or cigarette, or some type of clothing that they were wearing will look familiar as you see it on somebody else. Hi, Henry. So your mom died 53 years ago. That's a long time ago, but she's still here in spirit. There's no time or age on the other side. Just like I was explaining, if a psychic says he's going to call or she's going to call at the end of the month, it might take a year, because the spiritual world does not have time. Our world has time. The physical world is linear, not spiritual. The question is, how do you combine a spiritual life in the physical realm? That's the hard part, doing both, which is why I had to stop channeling, because I was so much into the paranormal and the spiritual world, I couldn't function in the physical world, and I got tired of missing the physical. So you were 3 days old, so your mom must have passed away giving birth, but then that would have been the upper GI or the abdomen, which is where, of course, with the uterus. But then I still think she may have had a heart attack or something with her lungs. Okay, so if you want to call me off there, I'd love to go into that with you. But she's always been around you. She's always been around you. You want to give me your first name? If you don't want to, that's fine. Henry, thank you for joining the show. Do you have a question? Rob, you want to ask a question or say anything about what's going on in your world? Just pop in. So, like I said, we're going to change the time of the show. I do have a show this evening in a couple of hours. There's a woman by the name of Barbara who lives in Florida, and her daughter passed away several years ago. And I channeled the daughter. Then her son was very, very ill, and she asked for some candles to help him with the stem cell surgery that he was having. And the first time he had stem cell surgery, it didn't take. Then she did the candles, and it took. And he's now very healthy. Now she just ordered more candles because he wants to change jobs. So you're going to hear that story tonight in just a little while, where she and I will be talking. It'll be 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. So hopefully some of you will come back and join that show as well. Okay. I could do this all day long, but then I have to go back and work. So Natasha is giving me her name, and the grandmother passed last year. What's your grandmother's name? She's very much around you. My grandmother's name was Bella, and I have a feeling they're very similar together because I see them as a unit. So it could be that our grandparents are hovering around us as little guardian angels together. A lot of times a guardian angel will come in and have never known you. Like your grandmother could take care of me, and my friend Jeff, who died in 1992, could be taking care of you, or a long lost relative that none of us ever knew, maybe 8 generations ago. Rob's great grandfather could be watching over me. You never know how it works. They choose people to protect. You don't see them. Sometimes you feel them. It depends on your sensitivity and what your balances are as far as how well you dive into all this stuff to understand it. But yeah, Natasha, you're totally protected. You're totally protected. There's times you just want to start crying, and I feel like your grandmother is very much around you. In many ways, you were closer to your grandmother, especially because you lost your mom. It's like your grandmother raised you. You were closer to your grandmother, so she's very much your guide. That's Arlene. Okay, I gotcha. I'm starting to see your family here, but your mom is still very strong. Your mom guided you from spirit, absolutely, which is where you got so much of your intuition. Are you a mother also? I guess you are. Oh no, Arlene is from Phases. I'm starting to read too much here. Spike's your kid, so you're a mom, but are you a grandmother also? Somebody's the grandmother in this group here, and I'm not sure, but there's a message about the education and the aggressiveness that's going to start going in this family of academic achievement. So Henry, let me see. Henry says, I'm confused on my destiny of life path at this point. Is there a way to know where I move to and put down roots in accordance with my career? What's your career, Henry? Because the way that you get grounded, well, I can't do that on the radio or on the show because it's usually a half-hour session where I find out where you've been to unplug and ground you in a better position. But once you understand the passion, yes, you can relocate and move. It just depends on what you want to do. I think a lot of it's the fragmentation of your fear of relocating. And there's also a fear of success around you, Henry. I know you want more, but there's something blocking you. You would do well with the good luck power candles. I would suggest you book a session off the air with me and let me just dive in and kind of reposition your compass point. And the confusion will turn into clarity. It will. I can help you figure that out. It's just you're trying to figure out your whole life destiny, and you can't. You can't just say, okay, when I grow up, I'm going to do this. Some people can. They go beeline it, and then for 90 years, they're out there doing it. Most people have to go in a zigzag. I certainly did. But it depends on what you're trying to achieve, Henry. You've got 2 or 3 different goals. So that's probably where a lot of the conflict is. If you want to type what some of those are, I'll take a look at it. We're running into about 30 minutes here. I'll go another 10, 15 minutes and then we'll wrap it up because Jonathan, who's in my background, and I are going to be doing another show at 5 p.m. Pacific, as I said, and that's going to be with Barbara. And I'll get Simone back on some other time. I'm sure she got delayed because of her son. But Henry, what are you doing right now so I can get a little better focus? Because a part of what you're trying to achieve isn't achievable or attainable by what you're doing. You're blocking yourself trying to do something that I don't know that is actually in accordance with your soul, with your spirit. Like Rob was a great scientist and was in charge of labs and everything, but then he found his passion in cooking. He also loves to fish. You got to find what you love. You got to do what you love to do, and then you'll find your balance and your harmony to help along with all the craziness in life. You know, you got your relationships and your careers and your financial situation, your health problems. You've got to deal with the washer and dryer, mechanical, the computers. You got to get to the doctor. You know, life goes on, but you got to also do something along with it. There's that saying, faith without works is dead. You can have all the faith in the world and sit around waiting for it to happen, but it's not going to happen unless you take that first step. So he's in the mining industry. So mining, if you work with mining, then you have to locate, and you know this, you have to live closer to where the mines are if that's what you're dealing with. You have to put yourself where you want to go. I don't know your question. You've got 5 questions going on here. You get 1 question. So the fact that you're confused is because, like I said, you got 3 or 4 different things going on, and now you're showing me 2. So I was right. There's a couple of more, but you're asking where to put down roots. So if you got the patent, that's not here yet. The oil mining, wherever that takes you, that's where you need to be, unless you can do it remotely. But you have to find out also what environment really fits your personality the most as to where you want to live. I travel all over the country all year long, and I think, oh, I'll move here, I'll move there, I'll move here, I'll move there. I have friends everywhere. I know people, but no, I still come back to Los Angeles because I vibrate most here. So you got to figure out what your soul vibrates most within you. You can relocate. People do it all the time. But what is it that you're looking for? If you're looking more for a career, like you're saying here, Henry, then go to where the oil companies or the mining takes place the most, where you're around that community. Sometimes it's West Virginia. Sometimes it could be Utah. I don't know what you're mining, and I don't know where they're doing it. Okay. Plus, you want to be safe, and you don't want to be in a hazardous situation with the fallout of what goes on in the mines. And you've got different types of lung disease from the mining industry. So I don't know if you're more on the ground or if you're up in the executive offices. You know, you just say oil mining. That's like saying I work for a bank. You know, are you the teller or are you up at the executive office? You got to be a little more specific. Anyway, I'm Dr. Linda Salvin. This is Visit Your Tomorrow. I do this show a couple of times a week now. We're going to start broadcasting more and more. And as I said, as things open up at the FM station, it'll be Sunday mornings on FM radio in conjunction with my internet radio, plus the video thing here with the YouTube and the Facebook and the LinkedIn and everything that's going on. We're going to grow this whole monster that I created. And you're all part of it. You're all part of it. Yeah, you're very welcome, Henry. Yes, you need a session. So if you want to book a session, you can go to lindasalvin.com. I'll type it in for you. Just go pay for your session. And then when I receive the payment, I call everybody back and book your time on the calendar. And it's always in accordance with whatever time zone you're in. And I read people all over the world, obviously. Now, I want to talk about DNA health for a moment. I talked about the Wicks of Wisdom candles, where I showed you some of the oils that we use and the petitions that we write that get burned into the flame, and how the candle works in helping people to heal or make money. Henry, you would do great with good luck power and path power. You would do good with good luck power to move the blocks, obstacles, negativity, and the confusion, and the path power to get you focused and grounded. So a lot of these questions would go away and you would have your answer. That's how quickly this would work if you were to go for the candles. You can get them at lindasalvin.com. Now, I've been working with a company for about 1.5 years now, where we swab our cheeks with these swabs that the company presents. We send back to the lab. It's all HIPAA compliant. It's not going to the government at all. You don't have anything to worry about. It's all private. And then what they do is they throw the DNA into a computer and they analyze your genes. There are 18 genes that come out on a piece of paper or on a graph, actually, that looks like this. Let's see, there it is. So you're going to see yellow dots, red dots, and green. Okay, these are some of what's called SNPs. These are some of the genes. So the red represents, like this gene here, I inherited from both my mother and father. The green, these genes I was born with. The yellow genes I inherited from one side of the family. So what this does is we find out the genes. For example, the motherfucker gene. That's what it's called. It's called the motherfucker gene. That's this one down here. I got it from both sides of the family. That's heart disease, cardiovascular, depression, anxiety, high blood pressure, anything to do with the blood and the heart and the mind. So by taking the nutritional product that is customized and clinically dosed based on my DNA sample, I'm more balanced. I don't have that moodiness I did. I'm probably less prone to heart disease now because I'm taking the product. My dad had open heart surgery. My grandfather, his dad, had open heart. My mom's mom had open heart. I had tachycardia 20 years ago, and I had a procedure 20 years ago on my heart. But taking the supplement now will probably, can't guarantee, but probably lessen the risk for me having a heart attack or needing open heart surgery in my lifetime. That's just one minute detail as to what this product does. You will sleep better, your digestion is better, your energy is higher. We had one person get off of dialysis. His kidneys were healed because of the right nutrition being fed to his body. The girl who used to be the CEO of the company is no longer dealing with Hashimoto's in the thyroid. That healed up. Another girl was anemic. Taking the product, her body naturally absorbs iron from food. Whatever's missing in your body is stated in the genes that we find out that you inherited. And then you get the clinical dosed nutrition that you take twice a day. You can get it in capsules or you can get it in powder form, and your body starts to heal. It's simple. It's easy. So you can find that on my website at lindasalvin.com, and just go look under DNA Health, under the health products, and it's all right there. It's a complicated website if you don't understand what you're looking for. So if you're interested, email me and I'll be glad to help you. And the other part of it is the gut health, because we're always hearing about leaky gut. That's the big catchphrase in the last 2 years. Everybody's got a leaky gut. Well, the truth is you do have a leaky gut, because the fecal material releases out of the intestines, and it can cause other disease or ailment or sluggish heart or sluggish energy, fatigue, headaches, and whatnot. So there's a gut health product, which is the triad in our company. And there's two there's a prebiotic, a probiotic, and then the powder that you can take once or twice a day or whatever your body needs. And your whole digestive system balances. So we're all constipated. This eliminates that. Your body starts to function on its own because of the products healing your body from within. Okay. So yes, going back to my friend Rob, who sits in the chat when I do my shows, I did study science when I was younger. I got into some weird situations with a plane, and a fire truck and totaling a car and having white light experiences and near-death experiences. And I became the woo-woo of the psychic, and then I became a healer and a medium. So I put it all together between epidemiology of science and metaphysics, and I became a metaphysical clinician. That's what I do. I do all of it from a spiritual perspective, and I'm here to help you. So if you're interested, you can call me off the air at 888-509-1077 or visit lindasalvin.com. Yeah, I think, Natasha, you should schedule an appointment or order the product. I'm going to sign off right now because we're going to be doing another show in a couple of hours. So I hope you'll come back for that, because definitely I know Barbara's going to be here, and you're going to want to hear what happened to her daughter who passed away and her son that went through stem cell transplants and how the candles, Wicks of Wisdom, helped. And she's lovely. She's on Facebook, and you guys are lovely. I hope you all sign up and click the little bell or whatever it is on the subscribe for YouTube, and come back. I'm going to do more and more daytime shows, and we're going to really build this little thing. And in the meantime, I want you to all have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Okay? Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.